Right now, we are going to our next panel. We mentioned before that we were very proud partners 4 years from now, and now we are going to have 3 people that represent 4 years from now. They are Yossi Vardi, Dr. Yossi Vardi, Pere Duran, and Noaa Barack. So, hi, Noaa.
Nice to see you again. Hello, Valencia. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Noaa. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good.
Hello, hello.
Yossi.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, so while we are waiting for Pere, maybe I can start with some introductions, although I guess that you all know them, but well, oh, Pere. Pere, can you hear us? Well,
Pere.
Okay, I can start with introductions and then Pere, I'm sure that we'll get to the connection. So, well, we have Pere, Noaa, and Mr. Yossi Vardi, 3 people who are really experienced in building startup communities. I'm going to start with Mr. Yossi Vardi. Well, Mr. Yossi Vardi, he's an entrepreneur and investor. He's one of the Israel's very high-tech entrepreneurs. He's considered the father of the Israel. That's what I heard, yeah. And we believe the father of the Israel tech ecosystem. Well, for over 47 years, Mr. Vardi has founded and helped to build over 85 companies in a variety of sectors like internet, mobile, energy, water technology. And well, in recent years, Mr. Vardi is active in fostering a culture of innovation and creativity in Israel, but also abroad. So thank you so much.
Thank you
for participating. Pere, hello. Hi, yeah, now. Nice to see you again, Pere. And
hello,
thank you
guys.
So much.
Very happy to be here.
No, thank you. Well, Pere is the director for 4 years from now, which I guess that all of you know. Well, it's a startup business platform that enables startups, investors, and large corporations to connect and launch new businesses, ventures together. And well, next year it will be taking place at Mobile World Congress. We hope. And well, welcome and thanks, Pere.
Having me.
And well, and last but not least, Noaa Barack. She is 4 years from now strategy manager at GSMA, and Noaa will be moderating the panel. So it's funny because I guess that, well, the title is the evolution of coastal startup ecosystems. I guess that's because you have curiously identified that next to some coasts like Valencia, which is on the Mediterranean coast, great tech startup ecosystems grow, and we are looking forward to learn about your insights.
Great. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. So actually, the first thing that we wanted to do is actually know who our audience is. So we invite everyone that's connected now to just write us in the chat in a couple of lines who you are. It could be your name and your title. It could be your name and the best food that you learned to make during this Corona period. So really up to you. And yeah, so in the session this afternoon, very happy to be joined by Yossi and Pere. We promised to touch upon the issues of connecting the dots between Valencia, Barcelona, and Tel Aviv. We promised to tell you the secret sauce to a thriving startup ecosystem, and to wrap up by discussing a bit of the opportunities that we see coming for startups in the post-COVID period, which would hopefully come very, very soon. So let's hope we have enough time for all of that. And we will start with our first question for Yossi, who is really the only person who can answer this question. So Yossi, really, why is Israel known as a startup nation? And what's the secret sauce to the thriving ecosystem in Tel Aviv beyond, the beautiful Tel Avivan beach, the beach parties, the never-ending sun? So what else is great that, helps make this ecosystem a thriving one?
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question. And for the audience, if you think it came just spontaneously, you are very wrong. We really planned it very carefully, so don't be misled by the authenticity of Noah. But nevertheless, the reason why Israel became such a hotbed for startup, usually people will explain it by the level of education, by the government policy, by the availability of finance, by the defense needs which affect the development of the industry and technology, by the level of technology. All of these things are true. But as you started, Noah, and very rightly so, there are some more parameters which are needed and essential to create a thriving ecosystem. And I would like to mention two, we are limited at time, but so I will point on to. One is the lifestyle, and you rightly mentioned the beaches and the sky. By the way, in general, the Mediterranean sky have a magic effect on the psychology and behavior of people, much more than what people will tend to think. If you live in a place which is very dark, sure, you can create wonderful industries, and Finland is a very good example, and a number of others. But if you have a lifestyle which is more kind of happier and people celebrate, it's becoming very important, because in contrary to the former generation, my generation made a deal with our employers. We sell them 8 hours per day. We sell them our soul for 8 hours. We go to the work, we do the job, and then at 5 or 6 or 4 p.m. we go back to home, and then we are free to pursue whatever we want. This is history. In the last 20 years, the creative people redefined the whole deal. And the deal is, if you want me to work for you, you have to provide me with a job which will fit my lifestyle. I'm not willing anymore to tear these 8 hours a day and give it to you. I want to live in an urban place. I want to live in a place where I can walk to the job, to the office. I want to have Wi-Fi in the boulevard. I want to bring my dog. I want to be more flexible with my time. And in parentheses, in that respect, the corona is really making a profound change on the work style that we see, because of the ability to communicate so comfortably from a distance. So this is one thing. The second thing is the culture in the country. The culture, what the young person is sucking with his mother milk. As a kid, you spend your first 18 years with the family, and the family is, without even noticing it, is brainwashing you. It gives you indoctrination how you should run your life. And in Israel, we have a society which parents are pushing the kids to succeed. They push them to study, and the mother is telling her son at the age of 6, when he goes to first class to school, after all what we have done for you, asking you to bring 1 Nobel Prize is really too much. And when you grow in this kind of environment, you have no alternative but to go and seek how to create meaningful things. And startup is a good one avenue to that target.
Thank you, Yossi. And I think one very successful startup that you helped build was 4 years from now. which is really a community that came up with the idea of helping startups succeed in the context of Mobile World Congress and in the context of this beautiful ecosystem that has developed in Barcelona. And this is where I wanted to ask you, Pere, to tell us a little bit about the role that 4 Years From Now has had in propelling the growth of the Barcelona ecosystem, and also what do you think are the key ingredients for an ecosystem to thrive? So do you really think it's about the lifestyle and the beach, or is there anything new that the Barcelona ecosystem kind of throws into the equation?
Thank you, Noah. That's a very good question. I really believe that 4 Years From Now has contributed quite a lot to the Barcelona ecosystem, and not only the Barcelona ecosystem as well, not to the tech ecosystem worldwide. And as you were mentioning, Yossi has a big responsibility here. But for me, like the biggest value that 4 Years From Now has provided to the local community and to the Spanish local founders is give them access to the global network of investors and corporates. No, 4 Years From Now has really accelerated these companies to go global, and we know how important it is for a company to have an international network in order to succeed. So that it's for me it will probably be the most important part. And as you were mentioning, I feel regarding your second point about the ingredients for a successful ecosystem, you have here the obvious ones that we keep talking about, being an attractive city with a good quality of life, having good universities, having a good talent pool. From my perspective as well, having a global platform that connects the local economy to the world is really important as well. And I believe, as Margarita was saying, that the 3 cities that are represented, such as Valencia, Barcelona, and Tel Aviv, they all share kind of these common factors. But if you allow me, I believe there's 3 items that really make a difference for an ecosystem to thrive, as you were saying. The first one is the capacity to adapt. And we know the case of Barcelona pretty well at 4 Years From Now, where we've seen a city with the capacity to create a tech ecosystem around the new digital economy, having the capacity to invest in science and starting to become a reference hub around digital health and biotech. So that capacity of adapting and reinventing, I feel it's really important. A second point that I feel as well is important for an ecosystem to be successful is it needs to create a system that it's inclusive and fair. We normally see a lot of startup ecosystems where we talk a lot about winners and losers, and we see the founders that really make it and build a big company as winners, and the ones that do not succeed as losers and having to really go through a lot of difficulties. And I think Tel Aviv, and Yossi will correct me if I'm wrong, has built a lot of programs that mitigate the risk for an entrepreneur to start a business. So I think in Spain we have a big job here to kind of put these programs together that allow any entrepreneur with any background to start a new business. And last but not least, and I'm going to finish here, I feel that the most important ingredient is having influential people with willing to impact the local economy, but with global responsibilities. And I think I've learned personally this from Yossi, someone that has really worked to impact not only the local community, but the international tech community, having these global views, because I feel that any ecosystem that wants to succeed needs to be at the forefront and trying to tackle the global challenges. So local aspirations with global responsibility is very important.
For sure. And from your side, when you get involved and help us with 4 Years From Now Barcelona, what do you feel are kind of the main differences, or what is it about Barcelona that is special?
Yeah, I would like to really to say a few words, and also to answer a little bit the question you asked, Pere. I think, first of all, I don't think many people know it, but 4 Years From Now was the fastest growing event in the history of startup events. In 7 years, we arrived to some 22,000 people, and I don't know of any other event that reached this kind of magnitude in 7 years. And the reason why it happened and why people flocked from all over the world to this conference, I think there are 3 entities which are responsible. First, the GSMA, the GSMA identified 8 or 9 years ago a new trend. The GSMA, like a major telecom, the major telecom show, dealt mostly with the big players. You know, to be a telecom company, you have to be really very big. And then these big companies discovered the speed and the nimbleness and the creativity of small companies. And large companies began to look for small companies as a resource for good and quick ideas. The small companies needed the big companies in order to execute it on large scale because they don't have the marketing muscle, etc. So it was like two ingredients, you know, like oxygen and hydrogen, which waited to meet each other. And GSMA was one of the first major players who said, okay, we have our audience, we are going to open our arms and embrace the young people, and we are going to create for them event, and we are going to allow them to attend the event without paying, which was a major breakthrough, and I think that they are entitled to a lot of credibility. The second entity was the city of Barcelona together with FIRA, who, yeah, FIRA is hosting a lot of events, but really both of them liked this idea very much and went out of their way to make it feasible, and gave this unbelievable magic location at near, how you call it with the Spanish accent, Plaza Catalunya.
Plaza España.
Plaza España. And with the two towers and everything, it was really amazing. The third event is that both the GSMA and the city entrusted group of young people. You know, they didn't went to the established big companies, but they assembled a group of young, zealous people who understand the psyche of the young people. So they were able to attract it. And I think and you have to add to it all the magic of Barcelona, which is really very not meaning that Valencia is not a great place, but Barcelona really has its own magic. So when you put all these three ingredients together, you got something very, very powerful, and more important, very, very attractive, and also very, very fun. And I would like to add another thing maybe to this formula, the fact that 4 years from now didn't take itself too seriously. It said we are a serious event, but we are going to run a serious event with a tongue-in-cheek. So it removed the threatening element, the threatening shield that you have in formal big industry event, and offered something which on the one hand was a meeting place of serious people. You know, I remember the large companies, Deutsche Telekom and Nestle and many other companies who came there, and the list is hundreds of companies. So you had the large companies, but also you had a lot of fun, and you had musicians and parties in the evening. And I am yearning to have it again next year, Pere. I hope you are going to do it next year, and I hope you don't forget to invite me, because if you invite me, I will come and make my way by using force.
You are invited.
For sure,
yes,
for sure. Everyone is invited. Good. So, so we talked about the Tel Aviv and the Barcelona ecosystems. We talked about the importance of lifestyle, the importance of a job market that knows how to adapt to the lifestyle, the ability of an ecosystem to adapt, the role that the institutional players have in propelling the growth of an ecosystem and the growth of those events that are driving the ecosystem forward. Now let's talk about Valencia a little bit. So Valencia is in many aspects still an emerging ecosystem. So Pere, can you share with us your reflections a little bit? How do you see, from the point of view of Barcelona that's already very consolidated, how do you see the Valencian ecosystem? How do you see this growth that we've been experiencing in Valencia in recent years?
Yeah, as I said in my first participation, I really feel like now any ecosystem that wants to play a big role, you need local players that really try to tackle the big global issues. And lately, at 4 years from now, we have been following quite a lot of what Valencia is doing, and we see a lot of local players that are really doing really good stuff around these global kind of goals. You have, I'm sure, and forgive me, but I'm sure I'm gonna miss a few maybe institutions, but the ones that I know that are really doing really well. Now, for example, you have Social Nest doing a lot of stuff about social impact, and we know how important is nowadays social impact. Now you have GoHub, for example, doing stuff around deep tech. You have very successful accelerators such as Lanzadera, global startups such as Jeff, and the council is doing really well as well with Valencia Activa. So all these local players that are really willing to make the difference in these global challenges is really important. And I think this is a key ingredient for the success of the Valencia ecosystem. And for sure, at 4 years from now, we've always thought that Valencia was a really good hub, and I feel like there's a lot of exciting times ahead for Valencia.
We definitely are all crossing fingers that we can be back in Valencia Startup Week next year in person and enjoy some great Valencian food. But for now, we're still in pandemic times, and in pandemic times, it's so great to have connectivity. It's great for us to be able to sit in the same virtual room together and exchange ideas. And I think, Yossi, you've been dedicating a lot of time to sort of keeping all those ecosystems around the globe alive, participating in a lot of events, supporting those events. Can you tell us what you've learned during this time about sort of how to build an ecosystem during a pandemic, how to keep socially connected to other people around the world?
Okay, that's a very good question, and all of us are facing this question. And I would like to share with you some of my observation. Number one, remote connectivity is very powerful. And it makes the ability to interact with people much easier. You don't have to travel 8 hours and sleep on the airplane and go to hotels. And also it's much more economical. It reduces cost of interaction substantially. This is on the good side. On the bad side, you don't get the depth of face-to-face. At the end of the day, let's admit it. Yes, you can communicate, you can talk with people, you can transfer ideas, you can share ideas, but it's not complete. Maybe it's 92% or 85%. At the end of the way, you want to look into the eyes of a real person and you want to give him a hug or to shake her hand or whatever. And this you don't have. So this is a different mode of communication. Now you have to be aware. Content follows form. Content follows forms. You cannot take a form, you cannot take a format and say, I will cast into this format some experience which is organically is being done on another format. You have to say, this is a new tool, how best to use it? What should I prepare in order to cast content into this new vessel? It will be very wrong to say, I will try to imitate real life, because you cannot imitate real life. You have to use other techniques, other approaches. And you look at the movie industry, at the beginning of the movie industry, people took a camera and just shoot real scenes. And then it became form of art, and they were able to direct it and to create stages and to edit. It's something different. Now, on the Zoom, Zoom, you have to understand, is still in its very early Zoom and they like, and and Hopin and the hundreds new tools which are popping like mushrooms every week. All of them are very embryonic. What we are going to see in 2 years, it's going to be totally different and much more wonderful. The one thing which is being missing now, and people are working on it all over the world, is how to create the opportunity for organic interaction. Should we do it in chat? Should we do it in video? Should we do it in everything? Should we do it within the main stage that you click on somebody and you open a side dialogue with him? Should we do it afterwards? All these paradigms are now being developed, and they will pop up. The winners in a Darwinian way, the most compelling ones will come to the surface. We are in this stage. And there's many other people. I believe that eventually, once the corona is going away, if it's going away, I'm not sure it will go away. I think more like with the flu, we will learn how to live with it and how to reduce the probability to catch it and how to treat it better if we catch it. But once we will learn how to live with the corona, or the corona will go away, we will have a mix in our life of real meetings, and in addition to the other modes of communication that we know today, telephone call, WhatsApp, instant messaging, chat, etc., we will see a new method of interaction. This method, Pere, will affect also things like 4 years from now. On the one hand, you will be able to attract many more people to attend the event virtually from wherever they live. They may live in Costa Rica or in Manila. They will be able to attend 4 years from now by remote. On the other hand, I think it will affect the number of people which will come to the real events, because so you will gain more access, but you will have to have a hybrid or blended event, and you will have to think in 2 parallel channels. What do I offer to the people who are coming physically, and how do I run a party for the people who are staying at their home? And yes, you can run great parties on Zoom. We have done a Kinenet event a few months ago, and we had a party which lasted, we said it will be from 10 p.m. until the last one leave the Zoom, but people didn't want to leave the Zoom, so after 4 hours we had to turn it off. So there are options, there are possibilities. We have to look very carefully to understand what works, what's not work. For people who are expert in product, there is a great opportunity to come with new paradigms. And the last thing, I see on the chat that our good friend David Domingo is on the audience, so I want to say hello to him from Tel Aviv. David was also one of this very dedicated team which created this successful event. Unfortunately, I cannot mention everybody who was involved, but if anybody else in the audience is attending, show yourself at the chat, at the stage thing, and we will know you are here.
Yeah, David definitely had a very, very big part in kicking off 4 years from now and bringing it to what it is today. So for sure. And we're happy that he's here with us today. So really, nowadays the $1 million question is, when is this pandemic going to be over? When the vaccine and so on? But the $1 billion question is, what are the next opportunities for startups post-pandemic? So what are your views about this? Where do you think the wind is blowing towards? What are going to be sort of the big trends? Where are our next unicorns going to be coming from?
This is question to whom, Noah?
Whoever is courageous enough to answer it.
So I'll go first, Yossi, if you allow me, because
Sure.
It's going to be too risky for me to go after you. I think that for years from now, we see two or three main trends. The first one is the obvious one of a big growth in specific industries. So no, we really expect big opportunities around healthcare, around edtech, so everything around sustainability and impact and Industry 4.0. So if you are really willing to build a new business, definitely these industries are places where we're going to see quite a lot of opportunities and disruption there. And then a second thing that I feel it's important that we are seeing more and more is that the business model of digital startups is changing a little bit. We were used to this business model of growth at all costs, and acquiring users very, very fast. We feel like now we see startups that will grow probably a bit slower, but more sustainable, and this will will create scale-ups that I feel will last longer on the time and really create wealth for the local economy. So this change of business model we feel as well is something positive. And last but not least, and I want to know Yossi's thoughts on this one, because I know I think you know this pretty well as well from our community. We feel like that the challenges that we face for the future are really, really big, and we feel that quite a lot of talent and new generations will start working for government programs again. Probably not short term, but in the midterm, And why I'm saying that, we feel that the private sector will find it difficult to tackle all these big issues such as digital divide, climate change by themselves, And we as well ask quite a lot to our community, to a lot of young generations, what they want to do in the future. And we see that they are really wanting to work for projects that impact 1 million people, rather than building the next unicorn. So I really feel that this change of mindset by the young generations and as well the need from governments to put very attractive programs together will be a change, and we're going to see generations willing to work again for big government programs rather than only to the big tech companies. So that I feel it's gonna happen, and governments will have to play a big role here in the tech ecosystems moving forward.
The last word over to Yossi, and then I think we'll have to make room for the next ones in line in this great event.
Yeah. Maybe Noah, instead of answering your question directly, I would like to go to a side track, which I think it's important to mention before we part. And this is to put the projector on the sector which was hurt the most by the pandemic, and this is the weaker elements of society. All the people which are watching this conference are probably from the high-tech sector, and some of them are doing good, some of them may have more difficult, some of them may even lost their job, which is very unfortunate, but I think that these things will be taken care of, in a number of months, more or less. But there are layers of society which all their world shattered, and these are the weaker people which got unemployed, lost their job, etc., etc. Why I mention it? Because you asked us what will be the thriving sectors, and I would like to suggest instead what will be the thriving sectors. What are the sectors which should be focused at? So if people have ideas, how to create jobs and how to provide training and how to teach these people, I don't know if it will be the biggest business-wise, but from a social point of view, this will be the most valuable, the most important, and the most contributing sectors. And I think all of us should pay attention and see how we can use the tech sector as a leverage to help those who are not participating in this huge worldwide party. So this will be my concluding thought, I think.
Thank you very much, Yossi, for sharing this thought. And actually, I think that both Pere and I would agree. Valencia is actually an ecosystem that has social impact and sustainability at its heart. Carlos and Margarita and the rest of the team of Social Nest Foundation, who are also behind setting up this great week here, are working throughout the year to promote social innovation. And we're very proud to have them also as our partners for the Impact Program at 4 Years From Now. And so thank you so much, Yossi and Pere, for joining me on this panel. And thank you, Carlos and Margarita over at the Social Nest Foundation. Over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, three of you. I really agree with the different perspectives, but I couldn't agree more with your last words, Pere and Yossi, about the importance of making this inclusive, right? That we face so many challenges, climate change, as Pere was saying, also social, very hard and difficult and wicked problems around social issues, and definitely we need technology, we need entrepreneurship, we need innovation, and we need investment in solving those problems. So yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for your message, encouraging us to do our best to solve these issues. Thank you.
Yossi.
Thank you very much.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Thank you so much, Noah. See you
Bye-bye.
soon. Bye-bye.